What's up, all Power Ass crew? Today we're talking about centering your steering wheel. You know how if you need a little bit of front end adjustment, how your steering wheel can be just a little bit cattywampus as you're going straight down the road. Some people drive them nuts, some people don't care. But if you're one of those that wants it right, I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's go. Jack up the front axle, pick it up, so my front end balances so I can have both tires off the ground at the same time. Makes life so much easier. Both of them up. Okay, got our tire straight. Come on back here. Look at that. Look at that steering wheel. Ain't that just perfect steering wheel placement? Ooh, I did so good. Not quite. Watch this. Hard left. Okay, let's put our finger on this one. We're going to use this one as our counter spoke. Counting as in one turned. Got a skier on my head. Two. And we've probably done about a third. Okay. There's one. We come back around our full one. Our front tires should be straight, right? Ta-da! Yep, sure are. Straight. Watch this. Now we're going to do turn passenger or turn right. Didn't even make it one full turn. So y'all thinking, that ain't right. And you are correct. It's not. But what happened? Let's talk. So let's talk about your pitman arm, drag link in relation to the rest of the front geometry. Notice I'm not running the track bar. Right there is where it used to be, and it connects it to the frame up there. For those of you who don't know, that is called a track bar. I don't run one. I took it out years ago, and I will never run another one. So what's the track bar got to do with the front end? It's like this. Track bar connects to the frame up here, connects to the suspension here. And whenever your axle moves up and down, notice your leaf springs. Your leaf springs are only designed to travel like this, okay? So you got a track bar mounted here, and here to the axle, what happens is whenever your axle drops, this stays stationary and this pivots on this end. It pulls your axle back and forth like this. Or whenever you go full stuff and your axle goes up here, it stays stationary to the frame. This rocks upward. Notice my pinky is going to the right, going this way. It's pulling your axle this way. That's why getting rid of the track bar increases, does so good for your ride, because track bar is pulling your axle back and forth. The leaf springs are now designed to go back and forth. But what does that have to do with my steering wheel being centered? Good question. So with the track bar in place and you got lift, it pulls your axle this way. I've got about roughly 2.5 to 3 inches of lift on this thing, a spring lift. It pulls my axle this way, which throws the steering wheel out of whack. Okay, so I'm not running the track bar. That shouldn't affect me at this point. True? True. So now, taking off the track bar, sometimes what happens is that your springs have lived for so long, been binding against that track bar. When you take the track bar out, it'll throw your steering wheel a little bit off center, like that bottom spoke. It'll make it go one way or another, and you have to adjust it. So what is today's video about? We're doing that track bar to reset the center of your steering wheel, to make sure your Jeep has that T, that center spoke going straight down, in line, like it's supposed to be. So, 13 millimeter. Get these nuts loose right here, 13 millimeter. This end and that end both. Now you can see I've got the collar loose to the point that it actually rotates and spins and turns and all that fun stuff. You want that loose, so therefore you can grab hold of that bar and by hand turn it, okay? That's what we got to do. That's how we're going to push the pitman arm that way to realign my steering wheel. Now at this point, our tires are off the ground. Now we start turning the drag link, the tires will can start moving as well, but what we want is the steering wheel to move. So this is a good time to go ahead and sit the Jeep back down on the ground so the tires do not turn. We know we got the tires straight where we need it, okay? So when we turn the drag link, we'll push the pitman arm that way, and we can realign our steering wheel. So let's set this Jeep down. Okay, I'm gonna use both hands so I can control the drop. Be right back. Okay, now we got the Jeep sitting on the ground. Pay attention whenever you turn the drag link. If you pay attention whenever you turn the bar here, you'll see the threads coming in and out. That way you'll realize which way it's going. Okay, so we turn this way. Now you can see, if you pay attention there, well, the camera's picking up on it anyway, that's pushing the pitman arm to the right. Now each end of this bar right here is right-handed versus left-handed. So whenever you're turning it this way and you're pushing this one out, it's also pushing that ball joint out at the same time. So we're pushing that one that way, this one that way, but since we got the tires on the ground, it should feed all the pressure directly into the pitman arm and push the pitman arm that way. So we've turned it a few hands now. Let's look at the steering wheel position, see where it's at. Okay, see, now our steering wheel is starting to cock over this way. So we need to keep on turning it until we get this thing lined up and hopefully get it right here. So keep on turning. So I tell you what, instead of boring you guys to death, watch me turn that drag link. I'm gonna go ahead and do it to the point that's where it's at, and we'll come back to it and do a little more talking about it. Almost there. Just a wee bit more. Just a wee bit too much. So if you guys are paying attention, I did a lot of cranking. Now if you look, the ball joint, I fed a lot of it back out right here. And that's all because I wasn't paying attention to the pitman arm when we put the drag link and all this stuff in. Yes, there's a video coming for all that, depending on which one I release first. It may already be out. We'll link it together either way. So now that we got our pitman arm part by Pierce being in the right position, we're going to tighten our jack back up. Squeak, squeak. Get them tires off the ground so we can turn the wheel easily. Okay, let's switch hands on the camera here. Okay, we got the spoke coming down to here. Let's start turning. 1 and about 1/3. There's where our 1 ended. Right there. Power wheel straight again. Sure enough. Alright. Go the other way. 1 and about 1/3 or so, or something like that. Looks like we're good. Okay. 1. And right there. Our wheels should be straight. We'll test it one more time. Turn driver. 1. Boom, right there. Shooting at about 2 o'clock roughly. Right there, our wheels should be straight. Yep, wheel straight. One. At about 10 o'clock. Looks like we're good. And that's what you do to recenter your steering wheel. Not hard at all. So let's recap the method that we used to do this. Jack underneath the center of the axle. And I'll show you real quick where to put the jack. See right there on the pumpkin, it's just barely, it's probably, I don't know, 1/4 inch off the pumpkin right there. And it was enough to pick up both sides at the same time. I didn't even have to take my tires off. So once you got the front end up, if it's just a case of like 99.9% of the time, It's just a case that's just a little bit smidgen off because of maybe you took the track bar out and it made your front end, everything lined up perfectly like it's supposed to with the track bar out, because track bar, like I said earlier in the video, will pull your axle back and forth. So if it's just you need to move it just a smidgen, balance that front end like this right here. Like I said, don't even need to take the tires off. Loosen up those clamps. We'll show you those here again in a moment. Loosen up those clamps to where you can turn that drag link and pay attention. Turn it one full turn. Look at your steering wheel, which way to go. Did it go the right way? Good. Center it up. Did it go the wrong way? Okay, turn it back that full turn. Then adjust that direction till you get where you want it. Super simple. And right here's our little clamps that holds everything in place. What you got is your tie rod goes up beside this the drag link here. It's threaded up inside there. So you'll put your clamps back in place. When you tighten them down, it squeezes this split right here. Come on, camera. See that split right there? It clamps it down onto the tie rod, prevents it from turning. Same case right there. See right there. So at this point, I'm going to take my 1/2-inch wrench. I said 13mm a minute ago. It's actually 1/2 inch. It fits a lot better. Take my 1/2-inch wrench, tighten everything back up, and I'm done centering my steering wheel. As you can see, it's a pretty easy fix on a YJ. Even some of your old school Chevrolets with a solid axle under, some of the old school Ford Scouts, anything basically with a solid front axle under it. That would be pretty much the procedure I would go through every time to get the steering wheel back in center. Now, your rigs, or cars even, should I say, that have control arms on each side, independent front suspensions, they're going to be different because you need to have your suspension under load, meaning all your vehicle weight sitting down on the suspension. So therefore, it pushes your steering wheel in center as much as it can be, so when you adjust the drag link, it actually centers the steering wheel. Versus if you have an independent front suspension, or even the solid axle rigs, if you got supported by the frame and your axle drops, it pulls your steering wheel over because it pulls on the pivot arm of the steering box. So you got to have your suspension under load in order to make this accurate. Okay, remember that, and it's not so bad. So everyone, if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, leave me some cool comments down below, and I really appreciate you hanging out. Peace. Later, y'all. Oh, don't forget to share these out to your social media thingies too. Facebook, Twitter, I don't know, whatever social media you like. Peace. Later. Look at there, my Jeep's a pickpocket.